that is anxiety. So anxiety is about a future situation, and that creates the reaction. Now, fear most of the time is an immediate situation, but sometimes fear can also be imagined. What do I mean by that? I will give you a personal example. You, uh, you all are familiar with 9/11. Right? So I was training my postgraduates in CBT during the course of the year. The few weeks before 9/11, we were just talking about thought, emotion, and behavior. Then we were talking about the fear of flying. All the residents said none of them were afraid of flying. Then 9/11 happened, and before I completed my course, one of the residents, the residents were there talking about their December Christmas plans. One of the residents said that I want to go and visit my parents in California, but I am afraid. I said, why? Because I saw the 9/11 and now I'm afraid to get into the plane. So there is no immediate situation, but you see something and then that makes you think, oh, this is going to happen. So this is important for us because in a world that is so much more safer compared to the previous generations, we are also a lot more afraid about different situations. And it is important for us to see how fear develops within us so that we are taking steps not to let it happen. Next slide, please. Okay, no, okay, go to the previous one, sorry. Okay, so we said that we're trying to make this more of an experiential exercise. So then the next slide is going to tell us about experience. So as I'm talking to you, I want everyone to kind of reflect and see where you are on this particular scale of experience. The next slide, please. Yeah, okay. So at one end is extreme distress. I will go here. At the other end is you are blissful and ecstatic, the state that Buddha talks about, nirvana, right? Okay. Now pause. Just reflect within. And where are you? Where are you this second? Are you in the middle, which is neutral? Are you on the right side, or to my right side, or to your left side if you're looking at it? So, which is on the negative side? Are you on the positive side? Okay, wherever you are, okay, your experience is because of 5 different parts of the mind working together. And this is what we would want to understand, that the building blocks of human experience. Next slide, please. Okay, here are the building blocks of human experience. As you look at the slide, I want you to reflect within you. The building blocks, let's say that right now, my experience is neutral. That is because the thoughts in my mind, I don't have any anxiety thoughts. I don't have to worry whether the online streaming is working or not, because the fact that it is working means I don't have to worry about it. Okay? And that is number one. So if there is no worry about it, there is no emotion, right? There is no anxiety. So those two are calm. Then I had my breakfast, so I'm not hungry. Okay? So the sensations are taken care of, example. Okay? Now, memories. The things are going okay, so I don't have to remember the debacle that I had when I was trying to give a presentation, and the audio visual that did not work, and I couldn't remember what the next slide was, right? So that is not there. So there is no negative memory. And right now, my energy level, I don't have any impulse to do anything, my energy level is okay. The reason we would want to look at all these aspects is that these are the aspects that can make us to be in a neutral state, make us to be in a negative state or a positive state. And let us not complicate life too much. The only thing you have control is how you're feeling right now. And if right now, as I am talking to you, if I let the thought that by the Eagles, they lost their game yesterday, okay, and in a very awful fashion, what happens? So I have ruined this second. My experience goes from neutral to negative. Okay, so this is where I have control. This is where we have control because that is a thought that came into my mind and I engaged with the thought. Okay, so this is what we want to know. And as you look at the 5 components that make up your own experience, it is important to see where the stress comes for you. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the 3 different states of mind that we are in. So as I said, present, neutral, okay, and unpleasant, right? So I did a survey of about 25-30 people, and I said I gave 3 options. So there is one option. There is the deadline mode. We are all aware of when we have deadline, okay? We are irritable. We are not able to focus on anything. It's like even someone is saying a little bit thing, you are irritated, okay? Then doing more is a little bit less than that, but I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, okay? Now, the third part is what we call as the vacation mode, okay? Which is I'm calm, I'm peaceful. Okay. I ask people at work, what time are they spending in each of these? About 30 people. Okay. 5% of the time in vacation mode. Rest of the time in this. That means that much of time we are stressing ourselves through the entire day. Why? Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay. This slide is asking you, are you spending 5% of your daytime in a neutral to present mode? 10%, 15%, 20%? Just think. And all what we are trying to do is increase that percentage. Wherever you are, increase it by a couple of points every week. Okay? So that most of the time, you are actually in that state. That's the eventual goal. Okay? And for that, you need to know where the stress is coming from. And later on, we are going to talk, depending on where it is coming from, your thoughts, emotions, your sensations, you have certain strategies to be able to deal with that. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, a couple of points about why do we even bother about fear and anxiety? Isn't it said that actually fear and sometimes anxiety drives you to perform better? Okay. So let me give my perspective. See, listen, driving to do better is secondary. How I am experiencing life right now is primary. Okay. We want to drive to do better for what? Ultimate, because we think it makes you happy. So why are we first be happy here? Okay. So that's one. The thing is that when a person is in the most calm state of mind, is when they can be most effective for most of the situations. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, this is where the long-term effects of stress, fear, anxiety. How do they impact you? Okay, so the cardiovascular, okay, right from high blood pressure to myocardial infarction and dying. How many of you heard of someone who is otherwise physically fit, no other problems, everything is going very well, and 37 years old and he died? Oh, he is in the financial industry and he was earning 300,000 per annum at the age of 37. However, he was working 100 hours a week. Okay? And the stress itself led to an MI. Okay? Now, GI problems, we all know about heartburn, the irritable bowel, acid reflux, that impact on your immune system, recurrent infections, diabetes. Diabetes, stress impacts your blood glucose levels acutely, chronically. And I think in one of the previous presentations that was discussed by Dr. Shaila, musculoskeletal problems. Anytime you are stressed, whatever your existing problems get worse. Skin conditions, okay, respiratory issues, reproductive issues. Basically, what it is that stress is helping a lot of healthcare industry because that's how healthcare industry is surviving, right? So if you want to better deal with your health and make it your physical health and psychological health much better. By the way, I did not even include the psychological health. We'll keep it aside. Better. You need to be able to better manage your own emotions. Okay. So this actually I talked a little bit about this, but we'll also talk furthermore. When you're analyzing where the stress is coming from, you see the interactions between the different. The thought can lead to more an emotion, a feeling can lead to an emotion, sometimes the energy. These are all kind of interactive. That's what this slide is saying. It's like this. Okay. Now, this is a reflective question. What is your common strategy when there is fear, when there is anxiety? Are you avoiding? So, no, I don't have any fear, but your behavior shows that you have fear. That is avoidance. Okay? Or you recognize it, but you say, I can't deal with that because I have to take care of something. I have to take care of something. So that's the recognizing. Or you distract yourself. How many of you at work heard, oh, now we can go to happy hour. Now we can drink a few drinks and now that will make me feel better. You have to distract through drinking, okay? Now, basically dependent on an external substance to make you feel better. Whether it is coffee at one end or alcohol at the other end and marijuana in between, everything does the same thing, right? Dependent on something external, okay? Or the better, are you looking at things and saying, hey, why am I worrying about this one now? I don't need to worry about this. If it comes, I will. That is where you're checking your thinking and you're changing your thinking. And lastly, you all heard about meditation, mindfulness. And if you are mindful, that's another way. So these are the various ways. Important is we all use them at some point or the other. We want to be using more and more of the checking and then the mindfulness. Okay, so this particular slide talks about a variety of fears, whether the fears are about yourself or about someone outside. The main categories. It can be about the physical health, it can be about the psychological health, it can be about the finances, it can be about the future of your children, it can be so many different things. Bottom line is the same. It is the same kind of phenomenon that is going on every time, and you can deal with all of that in a similar manner. Next slide, please. Now, this is the background, this is the theoretical part. Now comes the actual practical experience, and Reva is going to share her own experiences and give her perspective.
Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about navigating fears and anxieties that students often experience. So these are things that I've dealt with as a high school student and am currently learning to work through as a college student. So if you can relate to my experience in any way, I hope you can take some useful advice from my journey. So starting off in high school, next slide please. One of the biggest anxieties that I faced as a high school student, especially in the first 2 years, what had to do with my social image and what other people thought about me. But eventually I realized that it's important to remind yourself that these people don't actually know me, and so their opinions shouldn't matter. I learned to prioritize being myself, and I learned to prioritize the opinions of my close friends and my family's opinions because those are the only people who know me. So I recommend, again, checking yourself. And when you recognize that you're starting to listen to that outside noise, to remind yourself that it is just noise and just take accountability, be authentic, remind yourself of your strengths and what characteristics you have that are positive, and eventually it'll just become noise and something you don't pay attention to. So going along with the social aspect, another thing that caused me a bit of anxiety was my cultural identity. I'm Indian American, so that means I'm part of the Indian culture, but also the American culture, and they're both very different from each other. So I had a hard time learning to embrace my culture in public because I was surrounded by mostly people who weren't Indian, and I was greatly influenced by the American culture. But while I learned to check myself and learn to not listen to outside noise, I also gained the courage to embrace my culture, and I realized that our Indian culture is a strength. So I encourage all Indian Americans to decide for yourself what part of both cultures you want to embrace based off of how they align with your values. And in terms of family, I encourage parents to try to empathize with your kids. It is really tough to, be a part of an environment where you're very different from your peers. And it does cause anxiety to a lot of other Indian Americans. So I encourage parents and children to have open minded, calm conversations about this and just support each other through it. Next slide, please. And then I think the biggest fear is not getting into college as a high school student. I think we all go to college to build a strong foundation for a successful career, and there is this false perception that you need to go to an Ivy League or a super prestigious college to do that. But that's not true. The reality is, in order to build a strong foundation for a successful career, what matters is what you do in your college years, not which college you go to. So I encourage all high school students to just work hard and find colleges that are tailored to you, that will provide you the opportunities that you want, rather than trying to squeeze yourself into this mold for a college that might not do that. So, yes. And another fear is growing distant from friends and family once you leave for college. And I think that the best thing to do is just be present with your friends, and try to turn that gratefulness, try to change your way of thinking of, and turn that fear into gratefulness for the time that you've had and the memories that you've made. And real connections will remain strong even with the distance. A lot of my really good high school friends, even though we rarely talk now, whenever we do, it just feels like the same kind of conversations we would have while we were around each other all the time. And always remember that your family will always be there. They are not leaving you, especially Indian families. My parents call me twice a day, so you don't need to worry about being distant from them. If anything, I feel like college has gotten me closer to my parents and my family. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about some fears and anxieties that I'm starting to work through as a first year college student. The first one being, I'm now responsible for my own health. You know, back when I was at home, my mom would cook for me. My mom would tell me when to eat, when to sleep, and they're not there to do that for me anymore. And I know that nutrition, for one, has been a challenge because I'm relying on dining hall food, and they're not necessarily the most nutritious, and there's not necessarily a whole lot of options. So what I did was I consulted an on-campus dietitian, and she gave me this really helpful trick where you eat what you want and add what your body needs. So say you're craving pizza, that's your carbs. And then maybe instead of just going for a cheese pizza, you go for the veggie pizza. And then you have your produce from the veggies. And then maybe you add some grilled chicken on top, and then that's your protein. So now you have, even though pizza isn't an ideal healthy meal, you have your carbs, you have your produce, and you have your protein. And this is just a good place to start in terms of nutrition. Another thing is rest is very important. So I know as a college student, you're probably going to be sleeping a lot later than you did normally, but always aim for 6 to 8 hours of sleep, even if you must sleep later. I think these are two very good foundational practices. It's a good place to start, and now I'm working to evolving them into more ideal, healthier lifestyle practices. And this is something that you don't have to explore alone. Talk to your on-campus doctors, nutritionists, and therapists. There are resources out there. Ask for advice from friends and classmates. You don't have to deal with it alone, and asking for help alleviates a lot of that stress. Next is just balancing life, so academics, extracurriculars, and just personal time. And this isn't something I've figured out for myself fully yet, but I'm being patient, and I encourage all college and high school students to be patient as well. I find that planning ahead really helps me, so I plan everything from when to study for what class, when to do which assignment, when to eat, when to do laundry, when to take a break for myself, and how long that break should be. And I encourage people to just experiment with planning methods and study techniques. Again, ask for advice. And it's going to take some time to find your rhythm, but just be patient with yourself and keep trying. Another thing that I sometimes feel stressed about is being involved with politics. I know as a college student, you start to get more involved with it because what's going on in politics has more of an effect on you. But I think it's very important to just stay grounded. So be aware, educate yourself, but don't feel too pressured to be very deeply invested in every issue. Form your own opinions based off of your values and your beliefs. And whatever you hear, always fact check and research. And in terms of talking about your beliefs with somebody else who might have opposing beliefs, I encourage you to be respectful. It's very important to be respectful, be civil, and just focus on helping in ways that you can as long as it's safe. Another thing that causes me a bit of anxiety is getting into graduate school because this is something I really hope to do. One thing that I found that helped a lot of my stress kind of fall away is finding out what these graduate schools require really early on, so I'm not worrying about scrambling to find that later. And then managing your worries, so I don't allow myself to think about it more than once a week max, because I don't want it to consume my daily life, and I encourage you not to let it consume yours either. And lastly, just stay true to yourself. So make sure everything you're doing it because it genuinely interests you. It's something that you genuinely feel passionate about instead of just doing it to check boxes to please graduate schools. So stay true to yourself. And then lastly, this is about kind of the path ahead and what lies ahead for me. I know the future can be quite daunting because there's so much uncertainty, but I encourage you to try to make peace with that. Check your thinking again, like we've talked about before. Be present, and all you can really do is just work hard and explore, but limit how much time you worry about the future because you don't want it to you don't want to allow it to consume your daily life. Working hard is all you can do, and it is something that you should be proud of. Take it one step a day. Do all that you can do. Make yourself proud every single day. Talk to others who share your goals, and that's all you can really do. Everything else will eventually fall into place. And another thing is, I think everyone has some kind of fear for failure. But what a lot of people don't realize is that failure is how we learn. These are just lessons in disguise. And they might be scary disguises, but they are lessons. And it's just another thing that we have to face to learn and grow. And I think a lot of times we think that small mistakes are a lot more devastating than they really are. So one tool I like to use, say, I studied really hard, but here's an example actually. My first ever chemistry quiz, studied super hard, did not do that well. And I asked myself, how is this going to affect me tomorrow? How is it going to affect me in a week, in a month, in a year? And I realized it's actually not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. And it was the way that I learned. I realized that the way that I was studying before was not going to be effective for college. So I really learned from that. And I encourage you to not let a mistake or some kind of failure, crumble the rest of your mood for the day, and just learn from it. So the key takeaways that I am going to leave you with is that anxiety might be unavoidable. Anxiety is unavoidable. You can't eliminate it, but you can learn to address and manage it. So do not avoid anxiety when you feel it. Address it right then and there. Learn to change your ways of thinking into more positive ways of thinking. So whenever you worry, ask yourself why you are worrying, and try to visualize a more positive outcome instead of immediately jumping to the worst conclusion. Ask for help. You don't have to do this alone, and it's a brave and strong thing to do. If the weight that you are feeling is too heavy, ask for assistance because it will alleviate a lot of that stress and a lot of that anxiety. So I do encourage you to ask for help if that is something that you find if you find that your anxiety is too much to deal with alone. And be patient. We're all still learning who we are and how we fit into this world. So be patient, plan ahead, but be flexible with yourself. Again, take it one step a day and make sure to just make yourself proud every single day. And that's all you can really do.
So, as Reva was presenting, I was sitting there and thinking to myself, if she can present so well at such a young age, she has a long future ahead of us, ahead of her, and several more presentations to come. Wonderful job, Reva.
Thank you.
Okay. So, some of the slides here, the next few slides, actually, Reva has mentioned, but we are just going to go into a little bit more detail in terms of making it more experiential. So, whenever there is fear or anxiety, how about looking at it this way? That wherever there is fear or anxiety, we are going to try and intervene. Meaning, if it is there within me, I have to do that. But if I see someone around me, whether it is at home, whether it is work, anywhere else, why not we help them if we can by not making it worse for them, number one, and number two, seeing if we are able to communicate anything that we learn to help them. So in the spirit of Viti Seva, what Seva is only to make people or other beings less distressed than they are. If fear and anxiety are distressing, and if we are able to do something, then we are already doing Seva there, right? So, going back to every experience that we have is made up of five building blocks. Five building blocks, we said, are the thoughts that we have in our mind, the feelings associated with the thoughts, the sensations, which usually are from the body, the memories, and the energy and impulses. So there are interventions that are helpful from each of those. So most of the time, the anxiety, the fear sometimes is from the thoughts, anxiety almost always is from the thoughts. So I give example of what thought can generate anxiety here. So most of it we are thinking about future, but if we are able to look at the thoughts that are generated within the mind, and then those thoughts that are not relevant for this particular situation, you need to address them. Okay? So I have a mnemonic that uses three C's. Remember three C's. C number one is just monitor or check what kind of thoughts are going through which are generating either fear or anxiety. Once you check, step number one is done. Step number two is the you have to change, you have to catch those thoughts that are negative. Check once you check those that are negative. If you don't catch them, they catch you. There's only two things because it pushes you in that. So catch that thought, and then the third part is change. So how do you change the thought? You change the thought by a shifting the focus from the result. Usually, most of the thoughts are about, oh, will this result occur? So I gave the example. I got into the car at 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock. Immediately, what if I do not live stream this if I am not able to? What am I focusing on? The result. Instead, oh, I need to focus on what I need to do just then. I need to just drive my car safely. That is in my control. So do what is in your control, okay, and remove the focus from the result. By the way, those who are familiar with Bhagavad Gita, you know this, right? Karmanyevadhikarastena. This is all simple. So that is the number one psychotherapy book, actually. So that is one thing. Second thing, sometimes you have to check, hey, if the thought is accurate or not. A lot of times it is, the thought is inaccurate. So you say, there is no evidence for this. So you have to do this. The third thing is, sometimes the thoughts is, what if I fail in this? Okay. If you go back and say, I have done this 50 times and I did not have a problem, or I did 50 times, but only one time I failed. That means my chance of doing well are 98%. Okay, so just addressing the thoughts in a variety of ways. So there are more ways, but the more you understand your thoughts, the more you're able to address them. Next slide, please. Next, how do you work on your feelings? Okay, working on the feelings is usually the way we label the emotions. They can either get enhanced or they can get decreased. So if I say I am angry, okay, that is okay. Then what happens is that it brings back the memories about anger. I'm angry now, I have been angry before, then it takes us into a different cycle. So when we talk about meditation, one of the things which is taught is that when you are sitting in meditation, you get some thoughts, you sometimes get feelings. You use neutral words to label them. Oh, you say, this is a feeling. When you use a neutral word, then it doesn't take you into this negative zone. So that's number one, labeling. Okay. Sometimes we go in the opposite direction about labeling, and then we exacerbate. Okay. Um, Now, second thing, every emotion will die. And I use the word die for a reason because it has a beginning, it has a peak, it has an end. No matter what that emotion, it can be joy, it can be anything. Okay, it dies. So, someone is very angry with me. Okay, then it is going to die. Only if you say, I have to be a little patient in this moment, then you don't react and you don't exacerbate, right? Okay, so it's almost like we have to help each other. Sometimes one person is more angry, so you step back. When you are angry, other person will step back, kind of a thing. So, being aware that every emotion will die. Okay, now bring awareness to yourself. I will and I'll come back to awareness and using breathers. These are things which you already know. You can use it. If not, I'm going to do a little bit experiential thing. Okay. So I want everyone to be sitting comfortably. Okay. Now take your attention. Okay. Now what we're going to do is that we are going to say, where am I on the spectrum of human experience? Okay? Neutral, negative, positive. That's how, wherever you are, then we are going to close our eyes. Now, once you close your eyes, just become aware of the environment. I'm aware of the sound that I was not aware of before. There is some other sound outside of a bird. There are things in my environment I'm aware of. As I become aware of the environment, I can now turn my awareness to within myself. Then I'm aware of how I'm standing. I'm aware of how much weight I'm putting on my feet. Now I'm aware of my breathing. I'm now aware of whether there is any tension in the body. Then I'm aware of the thoughts that are coming. And now I can just look at the thoughts now because they're a little distant from me. Okay. So there is the awareness of the environment, awareness of the body, awareness of the mind. I'm going to slowly open my eyes. And this actually takes only a couple of minutes to do. And you can see the difference in terms of what happens to the mind. That's one. The second thing, this you can do with your eyes open for the next 1 minute. We are going to just observe the breath and count the number of breaths. Just observe, keep your observation on the breath and count. Okay, they can stop now. When you count, depending on the level of stress, your breathing can be as high as 28 or 30. That is what I have seen some of my patients. Or it can be as low as 6, 5 or 6. And if you observe for yourself, sometimes yours is high or low. So one of the things I tell people is in typically work has become such that we are running off one thing after the other, like we have to do, because we always set deadlines. Deadlines are set by either the outside, or we set deadlines for ourselves. Every time there is a deadline, it is a push to do things, and it is unnecessary stress and anxiety. So the one way to break that is several times a day, almost once an hour, if you're able to just count your breath. But in 8 hours of time, you're counting 8 times, but your stress level will be significantly less. Next slide, please. Okay. You can use sensations to mitigate fear. This we do it when there are children. If they are afraid, what does the mother do? Hug the child, because that gives a sense of safety and security. So for an adult, you can just pat them on the back, hold their hand. So positive sensations reduce stress and fear, stress, anxiety, and ground us. Okay. So some of the therapists actually have different positive aromas, and when someone is very anxious, stressed, they ask them to just take the smell, and that kind of calms people down. So, and I heard a week ago that someone uses camphor to for the when someone is sick. It helps both ways, actually, this physical sickness, but also the kind of the smell. Okay. Another thing, if you are able to see something beautiful and natural, that actually lower the stress. So basically, in here, the sensations, all the 5 different sensations, anything that you can do with the sensations, and enjoying a healthy snack, a fruit, nuts. Okay, most of us go for chocolate, but it's like, but maybe as Reva said, add some nuts to the chocolate and eat. So as opposed to just eating chocolate. Next slide, please. Okay. Using memory and activity to address fear and anxiety. One of the things that is done typically is consciously bringing a very positive memory to kind of counteract a negative memory. When there is when you are actually something is making you stressed or anxious, getting up and just going for a walk itself can help. And even if most of us are in sedentary jobs, actually, so if you're just stretching, just get up and stretch, or in the thing, even stretching, this can reduce the anxiety. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Oh, so this is actually to put everything that you have learned, both from a theoretical and an experiential perspective, into a what am I going to do starting today. So pause and think of 3 things that you can take away from today's discussion. 3 things. You don't have to do too many. Yes? These are the 3 things that you can incorporate into your routine starting now. Okay. If possible, write these things down on a paper, or a pen and paper is for old timers like me, but the writing on your notes on the phone is for the current generation. Do it. Second, think of one person who you care about, who you can help from what you learned today. And make a plan to communicate this with them as soon as you can. So by practicing what you learn, by teaching to someone else, we make things that are helpful part of our routine. So this is our last slide. I would like Reva to come and start here to see if there are any questions.
Nice presentation. Um, can you emphasize on the physical activity part in order to get over not fear but anxiety?
Yeah. So basically what has been shown is that most of the, yeah, okay, that's fine, yeah. Okay, yeah, most of the time, a lot of things that are anxious are causes mild degree of anxiety. It is not the severe anxiety that require any kind of help. So when things are anxious, if you are going for a brisk walk, and when you are walking, your focus is actually on your walk and the sensations the walk is producing in the body. And if you are able to do it in an environment which has more greenery, that is a perfect way to do that. And 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can, and within that time, you actually can see the decrease in the anxiety.
I have a question. So normally when you get a call, especially we live abroad, so you get a call at night, that usually portends something bad. It has happened once, it has happened twice. The third time it's almost like a Pavlov reflex.
Mhm.
So that kind of fear is more physiological actually.
Yes.
There is no emotional component, but it's happened twice. It's an odd time for someone to call,
Mhm.
and it has happened in the past. So
So basically, yeah, this is one situation, but there are other situations where the actual uh, um, response is a physiological response of the body. So the physiological response of the body, once the immediate response is the response. That's what is natural. That's a protective response. But then associated comes the thought. Associated comes the thought. Oh, maybe something bad happened. Okay. Now, the if we are able to address that thought by I don't know, only something bad has happened enhances this physiological response, but actually I don't know what this is about. I don't know what it is. Let me find out. So it's like changing the addressing the thought that enhances the physiological response is one way to do that. And how is my breathing? As you're finding it out, even when you are actually finding out, you are breathing, right? Say, okay, how is my breathing? And am I able to stay with the breath? Initially, it is difficult, but the more and more practice, you are able to stay with the. When you are with the breath, then the impact of the negative things is significantly less. Yeah. And that's why there is one thing. So this comes from the yoga background, from Buddha and Patanjali. The Patanjali said about this, you need to have nirantara, dirghakala, it should be the practice. He said nirantara, dirghakala, continuous, number one, and long term. This is the only way he said. There is no shortcut because the mind is constantly pushing you in this direction. Mind is being hijacked by things that are happening in the world, and you constantly try to kind of bring it back. Yeah, yeah.
thank you so much, Reva, for that wonderful presentation. It was so good. I'm sure there are a lot of kids who benefited from this. I hope they did.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to have a lot of fun.
No. The thing is that this is coming through you. It makes more sense for coming through you, who has gone through this experience and talking from the experience more means more, and people are more receptive because you are their peer. Okay, as opposed to, oh, what does this old man with a gray beard know about high school in United States? Would be the thing, right? Or going into college. but you can say, I have been there, this is what I have done. Okay. So that's wonderful.
Very correct.
Thank you for letting me speak about my experience. I do hope that people were able to get something out of it.
Yeah, and for the audience, in fact, the whole thing is to see if there is more interest from currently college-going students. Maybe are you open to doing something as a small group online? Okay, I put her on the spot here so that she would not say no. No, but I think it is good because, see, what you went through in high school, the lessons you learned, people who are in high school can actually hear you and kind of reduce their stress level. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you very much, Reba. And any other questions? Otherwise, we'll just talk. Okay. Otherwise, the next presentation is going to be on the 13th of December. And this time we are going to talk on loneliness. Loneliness in a very busy world. Okay, with all the social media and how lonely and how loneliness is the silent killer. Okay. So with more details will come up, and everyone give a big hand to